There are only 7 races remaining in the 6th season of the Gratton Cup Series, and last week we went to the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Eli Bright was able to stretch it on fuel and on fumes. He took the checkered flag for his 2nd win of the season, and perhaps to give him an outsider's chance at the championship. But it was Dawson Miller, despite a middle of the field run, he was able to get that margin over Henry Gore to out over a race worth points. He comes into this race 52 points ahead of the field, but can Gore, Anthony and Alexander Rowe, can they make up ground to get themselves back into the championship race? Well, today we go to Richmond and we turn to the short track, and we'll see who will be able to emerge victorious at the end of 100 laps around this 3/4 of a mile racetrack in Richmond, Virginia. This is the SiriusXM 400, the 24th race of the Gratton Cup Series Season 6. Hello everybody and welcome to the Gratton Cup Series for Season number 6, race number 24, here at the Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia for the SiriusXM 400, a 100 lap race around this 3/4 of a mile short track here in Richmond. And we've got ourselves a, will be a very interesting race, mostly because for the last, well, let's say 3 months or so, it's been entirely intermediate speedways for the schedule. Basically, every race since Talladega has been like that. So, a bit of a curveball to what we have seen compared to what we've seen in the recent weeks, I suppose. A short track here. Of course, we've got North Wilkesboro later on, so not the last short track of the season, but it shapes up to be a very interesting one. We talked about, Dawson Miller's got over a race ahead of the chasing field, so regardless of what happens today, he will leave here the championship leader. But the 51, the 71, the 39 all start around the same position, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we'll see how they go. Dawson Miller starts from 13th, so this will be an interesting one. And we've got a couple of surprises up at the front of the field on the front row of the grid in Logan Williams and Duncan Ward. But I'm joined today by Matt Tuck, who is, I'm sure, is happier seeing that the 54 and the 60, well, the 54 starts 2nd, the 63 starts 11th, and what's been a really tough year for you guys at Velocity. You'd be really happy to see the guys starting in a very strong position. What have you got to do here at the Richmond Raceway to go to victory lane?
Well, I think, good to finally get some good qualifying efforts here. It's something, obviously, we haven't been too strong at, unfortunately, this year. Really have struggled to get our grips to a lot of different things this year. But, I think we got a good set of drivers to be up here qualifying good. And, even though it's late in the season and we're not going to get a whole ton of the points, it's always good to build some momentum heading into the next season.
Definitely, and it's a promising sign to have two cars on a track that, two cars starting up at that top 11. Promising sign for what could be the case next year, I suppose, for you guys at Velocity. And we've got a very competitive field here in the Gratton Cup Series. So we're looking forward to. We've got a lot of teams that I'm almost certain will come back, so it'll be even more competitive next year, I imagine. But in terms of what we've got this year, we talked about the championship battle coming into this race. Dawson Miller's 52 up now on Henry Gore. You see the championship stands on your screen. So that's over a race. You get 47 points for a race win. So it's over a race ahead now of the 71. First time that's been like that all season. Gore 52 back, but he does start ahead of the 48. And so does the other two Gifford Chevys that are in this championship battle. So Dominic Anthony, I should say, he's 3rd in the points. He had a strong run last week at Indianapolis. He's 67 back in the 39, and he starts 7th. Keep an eye on him here today. Alexander Rowe, who dominated at Colorado earlier in the year, another short track. He starts 6th today. He's 4th in points, 68 back. Noah Clifton's got a lot of work to do because he's 28th on the grid. 5th in the championship, 84 back. And then Eli Bright, our most recent winner, who starts 4th today, is 90 back and gained about 30 points on Dawson Miller with that win last week. So thrust himself potentially back into championship contention, albeit very much an outsider's chance. But he is back within 2 races of the 48, and then everybody else is pretty much out of it. Benny Watson's 107 back. He's 7th in the points. Tristan Allen's 121 back. 8th in the points. Max Davis, 135 back, in 9th in the points. And Brandon Bent, 137 back, 10th in the championship. So really, it probably comes down now to 6. So Bright has put himself potentially back in contention, but Dawson Miller certainly in the box seat to win this championship. Take a look at the starting lineup here at Richmond, and it's a real surprise on the front row. Logan Williams, who hasn't had a top 10 all year, grabs the pole here at Richmond. A really big surprise for the 33. First career pole for him. Second pole of the year for Team Williams, who locked out the front row in the Daytona 500, of course, earlier on in the season. But this is a very different racetrack to Daytona. He starts alongside your man, Matt, Duncan Ward, with by far and away his best start in the Cup Series, starting second in the number 54. Charlie Davenport in the 52, in the winner at Auto Club a couple of weeks ago, and our most recent winner, Eli Bright, in the winner at Indianapolis. They start alongside each other on row 2. Christian Vargas has had 3 top 10s the last 4 weeks. Keep an eye on him here in this race. He's alongside 5-time winner this year, Alexander Rowe. Mentioned that winner at Colorado earlier in the year. Dominic Anthony in the 39, third in the championship in the number that 39, starts 7th. Henrik Waugh in the 71, second in the points, now 52 back. He starts from 8th. And Bren Perez and Bryce Egan round out the top 10. Tyler Jericho, and only his 3rd career start, his 4th attempt to put the 63 in 11th. Great effort from him, alongside Brandon Bent. He starts from the 12th position. Dawson Miller in the 48. Championship leader starts from 13th. Good spot for him to be in today. Alongside the most recent winner here at Richmond, Kian Raleigh, who won here back in season 4 the last time we were at this track. He got 3 NS racing cars around each other. Jared Oren from 15th, alongside Benny Watson in the 96. Travis Crampton in the 97, last week's pole sitter. Starts alongside Thomas Troxell, who finished 3rd at Indianapolis. And then rounding out the top 20 is Nathan Smith and Jack Haas. You see the rest starting lineup left side of your screen. Let's just quickly go and take a look at some of these drivers further down the order. Matthew Hubert there in the 8. He starts from 23rd in this one. There's Noah Clifton, the number 13. He starts from 28, so a lot of work for him to do in that car. Tristan Allen's a long way back. He starts from 37th, and then Kelly Lee and Max Davis at the rear of the field. So a couple of surprises there. In qualifying, of course, nothing more surprising than the front row of the grid. So Matt, as we get these cars fired up and ready to roll, who do you think is going to find their way to victory lane here in the SiriusXM 400?
Oh, I think it's going to... obviously I'd love to pick Duncan Ward here. I don't know if the pace in this car is going to bear forth to that, but give me inside of row number 2 and give me Charlie Davenport. He's shown a lot of pace over the past couple of months here. Obviously, it can go away at times, but when he's been on, and I think he's going to get it done here today.
I'm looking for his 2nd win in 3 weeks. He was 2nd, coming to the white flag, but coming to turn 4 on the penultimate lap, ran out of fuel, couldn't go the distance. So we'll see what he can do in car 52, coming into this race 13th in the championship. But it's 33rd and 31st in the championship that will lead us to the green today. Logan Williams in the 33 takes the green flag, and we're underway here in the SiriusXM 400. First lap completes, and Logan Williams in the 33 leads at the line. Duncan Waugh was able to get down to the inside and take the 2nd position ahead of Davenport, and then battle behind between Bright and Vargas. And Bright will be able to clear in the 95, and now Anthony getting shuffled to the outside. It's not where he wants to be. The inside lane certainly the preferred lane here at Richmond. Got Bren Perez in the 92 for Pacific Racing. There's the 2nd Velocity Honda of Tyler Jericho. We're outrunning all of the Nicotech Hondas at the moment, although Dawson Miller has cracked the top 10 here in the early stages. But very calm start, to say the least, here at Richmond. Top 4 have remained where they've started, but Brent Perez on the move here in the 92. He's just cracked the top 5.
Perez, we've seen over the years, really is a short track ace. We've seen it in Waller Cup, we've seen it in Stock Car World Cup. We've seen it everywhere. He finds the pace here at these short tracks, and so does his team of Pacific Racing here. And he's got a couple of guys that we also know are strong on these types of racetracks. Logan Williams, we've seen over in Gratton Cup Series how dynamic he is on these shorter ovals. Charlie Davenport. Duncan Ward's got a couple of really standout short track performances too as well. So, I know some of these guys are struggling here this season, or maybe don't have the best results, but there are some short track heavy hitters up front here today. So, some very, very strong drivers of this type of track, even though not having the results, leading the way early on here.
And they're pulling away too from Davenport, who is under a bit of pressure at the moment from Eli Bryce in the 95, who of course won last week at Indianapolis. This was the guy that led the most laps last week at Indianapolis, Dominic Anthony, who led almost half the race. But that late caution and then the pit stop, actually the caution may have helped him, because who knows if he would have been able to go the distance anyway. But he had the fastest car, just couldn't quite work his way through the traffic there at the end, and he ended up in where he's running right now, in the 5th position. You see Dawson Miller getting shuffled to the outside. As Alexander Rowe now on the inside here in the 51, so not where the 48 certainly wants to be, but he is ahead of Guo. There he is in the 71. 16th at the moment, started 8th, so he's dropped back a bit further than he would have liked at the start, and now under a bit of pressure. Here comes Nathan Smith in the 25, and how about this guy, Will Parrish, who finished 2nd at Indianapolis last week. His previous best was 11th at Oregon. And he had a very nice result last time out at Indianapolis. A bit of fuel strategy came into it, but he drove very well. Got that home inside top 2. Got cramped on the inside of Miller. It's battle just outside the top 10. Eli Bright has got ahead of Charlie Davenport. So Bright now up to 3rd and trying to hunt down the top 2. Davenport under a lot of pressure here in the early stages. He's got Anthony, you got Perez, and Jericho doing a nice job here in 7th. He was inside the top 10 at Indianapolis at one stage last week as well, so 63 looking promising, as now Anthony gets to the inside of the 52.
Yeah, Anthony to the inside of the 52, and you got to wonder if the 52 Davenport used up his tires early in the run there. Perez is probably going to get to the inside of him as well, so will Tyler Jericho. And this will be the interesting part here to see if the 52 can get down to the bottom, but Dominic Anthony's going to clear him here for position on the racetrack. And Anthony, this is important here. He doesn't have Henry Guo or Dawson Miller in front of him right now on the racetrack. He has some, he's got some room here to kind of maybe make a late season comeback here. And if you're going to make a late
we got a
season
caution.
comeback,
Sorry to cut you off. And that's a big crash. Richard Fridge is involved.
Slow down. Be careful.
Everyone's got to slow down. Logan
they didn't.
Runs into the back of the 46 of Alejandro Cruz. And that's a big crash on the front, unfortunately for Fridge in the 20. He's got a lot of damage. He's not the only one involved. Alex Sanvitale, 35th in points. That's not good for him. Looks like maybe Samadio was involved as well. And there's certainly a bit of damage. There's a bit of damage on the 33. So he's run up the back of Alejandro Cruz, and that might hurt him here. So we're going to take a look as everybody's going to come down now. It is about a 55 to 60 lap run, so they will have to pit again here at Richmond. But we'll see here with the 33, because he has a bit of front end damage now. And everyone is coming in. Tyson Gifford looks like he was involved as well. He can't take a trick at the moment in car 7. He's had a lot of misfortune as of late. So we'll see here with the 33. We'll see what kind of they have to do any damage repair, which they might have to after you ramp the back of the 46. And everyone, as you'd imagine, will take 4 tyres. And they are going to repair damage. There goes Duncan Ward. So Duncan Ward's going to take the lead away. Bright 2nd, and then you've got the 33 of Williams right there. Looks like Jericho had a great stop. The 63 looks like he made a bit of ground, and then Davenport. So that'll be your top 5. Duncan Ward in the lead now here at the Richmond Raceway. Let's take a look at what happened to trigger the first yellow. So here's what happened to trigger the first caution of the race. Nathan Smith here in the 25 is going to get a little bit of contact. Will Parrish 2nd last week. Gets into the left rear of the 25. He's not really alongside. In fact, he's not alongside at all. Gets into the left rear and is going to turn the 25 around, and then this is going to create a bit of a chain reaction further down the order. See, Will Parrish gets run into there by Rogel Dawn. Dawn goes up at the outside wall. Tyson Gifford runs into it right there, and then you're going to see Henry Gore gets a piece of it right there. That's big for the championship. That's really big for the championship, but should be okay. Didn't get much. Tristan Allen is not going to be so fortunate here. He runs into 25 and then comes down into poor old Richard Fridge, who thought the coast was clear, but it was not. And then stack up behind is Charette, Samadeo, and Alex Sanvitale all run into it, and that's a bad break for Sanvitale in particular, who was... Well, and for Ludovic Charette. So Sanvitale was 35th in points, owner points coming into this race. Ludovic Charette was 36th, and now they both have damage, and a lot of damage in particular on the 20 and the 37, and a bit of damage here on the 14. And then, after it's all said and done, Logan Williams here in the 33 is our race leader at the time. Can't get it wound up in time, can't get it slowed down, and we'll run right into Alejandro Cruz right there. Actually, centre punched him pretty hard in the rear of that 46, and then Duncan Ward gets a little piece of it. Eli Bright gets a little piece of it, but really those guys should be okay. Logan Williams hit him pretty hard and had to repair a little bit of damage on the pit stop, and as a result loses the lead. So I don't know what kind of impact that will have on his race, but it might be a bit of concern there. But certainly tough break for Richard Fridge, whose year has really fallen away. His last top 10 was a 5th place run at Martinsville earlier in the year. It hasn't gone the way he would have hoped for since. Here it is from the wide cam in real time. A little bit of contact. Yeah, Parrish isn't quite alongside. He's all over the back, and there's a bit of contact. You see there's where Dawn gets his damage. Tyson Gifford ran into him pretty hard. And then you're going to see right there the 14, 20. The 20, Richard Fridge, he came in really hard. And actually three of the 4 Seminole Motors cars involved. Somebody getting a little piece of it there at the end as well. A lot of damage on a lot of cars. And then there's Logan Williams running into it late on after the yellow. So unfortunately, some of these guys, a case of market breaks here a little bit, which is a shame. A lot of damage here on the 20 and some of these guys around. What kind of impact will they have on Logan Williams? We'll find out. He's no longer the race leader. It's Duncan Ward in the 54. Let's take you back to the restart. Lights are out on the pace car. We're getting ready to go back to green here at the Richmond Raceway. Duncan Ward now the leader in car 54 after Logan Williams had to repair a little bit of front end damage. Coming back to, slowing down after the yellow. So you've got Ward the leader, Bright now second, looking for back-to-back wins. Logan Williams dropped back to third, so not as bad as it could have been, but we'll see how that damage has affected him. Tyler Jericho's up to fourth, what a run that is. Davenport fifth, and then Vargas. Tyson Giff was involved in that incident. Alexander Rowe is seventh. Bryce Egan, nice run up to eighth. Dawson Miller ninth. Travis Crampton in 10th. 40 cars on the racetrack. Only Gifford and Smith are a lap down. Everybody else that's still in the race is still on the racetrack. The 2 cars out are Alex Sanvitale and Richard Fridge. We're back underway, and how about the restart for Bright down to the inside? He just took right off. And going to the inside for the lead, not wasting any time in car 95. Ward's going to try and get the run of the high side and is going to be able to hold him off for now. So 54, and hello, Tyler Jericho up to third now in the 63. What an impressive run for you guys at Velocista. What an impressive run for Jericho. Only his 3rd career start in the Cup Series. Doing a very nice job. The Vargas on the inside, so it looks like Williams, who looked very good at the start of the race, might have to, that damage might be affecting him just a little bit. You got Vargas on the inside, you got Rowe, Davenport's getting shuffled back on the outside, Crampton working his way forward. Look at this, up in front, Duncan Ward, still got Eli Bright all over him here in the 95, and he's looking, but won't be able to get to the inside.
No, this has been a really strong effort from the boys here. I was talking, this just hasn't really been the season that I think we were hoping for here, but also first time really embarking out with this organization here into this series. And to the inside goes Eli Bright, who's been really strong the past couple of weeks, and boy, if he had a hotter start to the season, you gotta wonder where he could be in the championship fight right now. He's gonna go to the inside of Duncan Ward, and now Jericho's gonna go to the inside of the 54 of his teammate. So really, really strong run from Jericho here, and a great sign for him heading into next season. But this is going to open the door now for Rowe, for Vargas, for Crampton to find their way up here. This is going to get really, really interesting here. Logan Williams has fallen off a little bit. His car doesn't look destroyed, but he definitely doesn't have the car he did. Davenport's on a rebound, and Dawson Miller. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're talking about here in the points. You know, you see Alexander Rowe, Dawson Miller, Dominic Anthony, some of these guys really in a very intense points battle here, but with Henry Guo getting damaged in that accident, very big stuff for Dawson Miller to have a good day here.
Definitely. You got Rowe on the inside who stands to gain the most as we got another yellow. Oh, and it involves Clifton. 5th in points. Spinning with Ethan Lewis. It looks like Alejandro Cruz involved again. 2nd yellow of the race. So that didn't take too long for another one. And I didn't get to mention it, but Dominic Anthony had a bad stop last time. He dropped down the order. Didn't get to mention it. You see Eli Bright waiting for the pace car. Now, it'll be interesting to see if these guys pit. Bright is going to stay out, and everybody else looks like they're going to stay out as well. So, it will be Eli Bright, the race leader, Tyler Jericho, up to 2nd, and then Rowe, Ward, Crampton, and everyone is staying out. So, tough break for the drivers involved, especially 5th in points, Noah Clifton. Can't afford that. He's spinning down the back. Let's take a look what happened to trigger the yellow as Alejandro Cruz pits. So the field is somewhat jumbled up here, and they're scrambling, I suppose, more so, because Nathan Smith there's got damage on the 25, and everyone's being held up. And Noah Clifton got to the inside of Kelly Lee, but Ethan Lewis was already making a move there in the 69, and out of turn 2, there's going to be a bit of contact there, actually towards the exit of turn 2. And then you're going to see this shot here. They don't get off of each other, and the 69 goes up into the outside wall. Clifton goes up into Nathan Smith. Alejandro Cruz gets a piece of it. Maybe the 76 got a little piece of it, but Lee slowed down. Cruz gets the inside wall. Pretty hard hit on that outside wall for Lewis. Pretty hard hit there for the 69 of Cruz. 46 of Cruz, I should say. 69 also involved. It kind of sums up the year for Monkey Racing, doesn't it? There are 2 cars in the race this week, and both get involved in the same accident. Running towards the back, but that's a really bad blow for Clifton. 5th in the championship coming into this race. He's now got a lot of damage on car 13. Here it is in real time. You're going to see there's Clifton, and he almost cleared himself, but Lewis making a move on the inside, as is his right. Let's do that, of course. Bit of contact there, and that's where it all happens. You're going to see Cruz get the inside wall right there. Once again, the 46 caught up in another accident. Same with Lewis. Both caught up in the accident last week. That's what happens when you're at the back all the time. Unfortunately for those guys. A bit of damage there on the 25 and Nathan Smith as well. But the caution is out for the 2nd time today. And Eli Bright is the race leader in the number 95. Nobody came down to pit, so we'll take you back to the green here at Richmond. Coming back to the green next time by Eli Bright is the race leader. Nobody pitted under the caution, so he's the leader. Tyler Jericho with an amazing run, 2nd. And it's only his 3rd start in the Cup Series, doing an amazing job. Ahead of Alexander Rowe, who's up to 3rd. Duncan Ward down to 4th. And Travis Crampton has entered the top 5 in the 97. Christian Vargas, Charlie Davenport, Dawson Miller, Bryce Egan, and Jared Oren inside the top 10. And then, of course, those guys involved in the incident there, the 13, the 69, and the 46 Cruz came down pit road to repair the damage. And a bad break, especially for Clifton, who is now a long way down the order in car number 13. So here we go, as the pace car's on pit road. Bright got a great restart last time. Let's see what he can do this time. Gets going, good restart, but fantastic restart for Jericho, who also got going in car 63. He's not going to make a move down to the inside like Bright did on Ward before. And so Bright back out in front. Holds off the 63 for the time being. Rowe closing in here in the 51. Pretty good in that last run. And he might have a look here to the inside. Got a good run out of turn 4. Here he goes to the inside of Jericho for 2nd. Down there, and he's going to stay side by side. Oh, and around goes Vargas. Into the inside wall. I think he had a tyre go down maybe. He got That was an awkward one there. And no yellow. That is interesting. No yellow for that. So Vargas gets turned. I think that was maybe Egan, perhaps, the 18. I'm not sure. No caution for that. But we stay green as Rowe gets past Jericho. Got the 97 of Crampton there up to third for his third win of the year. And then Jericho back down to fourth. Head of Ward. There was a car that's gone through the grass or the dirt maybe. Oh, and we got Charlie Davenport on pit road in the 52. Not sure what the problem there is. Vargas had an engine issue. That's what happened there. So he had an engine issue. Matthew Hubert's had a problem. And we stay green there, so you would have seen that perhaps. So that's a shame for Vargas, who was running very well. He has an engine issue, and that's going to take him out. I'm not sure what happened to the 52 on that one, but he should be now a lap down, and he is in 38th. So a bad break for a couple of those guys there. As Bright has started to check out, he's got a margin of 8/10 over Rowe, who's under a lot of pressure here from Crampton, who dives to the inside, looking to make an NS Racing 1 and 2.
Yeah, these NS Racing cars have really found a lot of performance here today. And over the past couple of weeks, we've really seen them come to play with some strong performances. Which is kind of, it's almost unfortunate for them because where you look where they are in the Drivers' Championship standings, Eli Bright, Benny Watson sitting there in 6 and 7, but kind of out of immediate contention here for this title. Makes you wonder if they had some better pace at the start of the season. And I remember we called a couple races together early in the start of the season, and this squad looked absolutely lethal, but just the way the season played out, the Nicotech Hondas and Henry Guo really took to the track and took control of the championship. But you're seeing these NS cars making a late season charge back to the front of this field. And it's going to be interesting to watch this all unfold here over the last couple of weekends here of the season. Dominic Anthony needs a rebound here because Dawson Miller running solidly inside the top 10. And Anthony's going to lose a huge heap of points here as this runs today.
Definitely. There goes the 48 to the inside for the 5th position. And should be able to make it sick. Now, Travis Crampton has reeled in Eli Bright very quickly. So this car is a rocket ship at the moment, car 97. He was fast at Indianapolis last week as well, but this is very impressive. Of course, both these guys looking for their 3rd win of the season. 97 looks very, very racy. It's a fascinating thing. I think when you look at Miller this year, who's running 5th at the moment, his consistency has been as important as anything else. You look at guys like Bright and Watson, some of these, like the NS Racing cars, for example, have had a lot of incidents, whether it's on pit road or accidents on the track or mechanical issues, what have you. They've had a lot of issues in comparison. The 48 has finished all but 1 lap this season. That's a big part of it. Now, Christian Vargas is going to be 2 laps down, and it's going to be used as a pick here as Crampton gets to the inside of Bright. So the 97, so 36 obviously with damage now with that incident and the engine issues. It's going to get rounded up here by the 97. So Crampton's taken the lead. Here comes Rowe in the 51 on the inside as well. Who, like the NS Racing cars, had a lot of issues that really has held him back. And Bright still cannot get around Vargas. So Jericho's going to capitalise. He gets to the inside of the to the 95, and now should get to the inside of 36. So must have lost a cylinder there, you'd imagine, with Vargas, and that's really hurting him. It's obviously hurt Eli Bright a lot, and he just gets down. That's pretty close there. Now Ward goes 3 wide on the inside in the 54. It's a bit of a tight squeeze there. Luckily, no incident like we saw before. And the 54 is going to be able to hang on that inside. Looks like he will. We'll see if he can find his way around Eli Bright. You got Perez closing back in here as well, the 92. Kean Rowley in the 10. As I said, has won here before, back in Season 4, the most recent race here at Richmond. Knows how to get it done. You got the 54 still working on Bright. Bright's going to try and power past on the outside, and that's what he's going to do. So the tyre's certainly wearing out, and that's having an impact. As they see some more lap cars coming up. Nathan Smith has damage. I really don't know what happened to Davenport. That was really weird. The reason, I'm not sure why he had to pit. It's really cost him in this race. But Crampton's got a bit of a gap to Rose. Not that far behind, but certainly they pulled away from Jericho. And Miller up to 4th. You mentioned those guys that kind of competing with him in the championship. Rowe's one of them. Dominic Anthony, Henrik Ward back in here. So Anthony in 10th, Ward in 12th. So still losing ground. And right now, as it runs, Miller would pull even further ahead. And Gore would stay second in the points. Rowe would move ahead of Anthony. So that's a change. That would be a change for position. But certainly Miller would be the big beneficiary from all of this. But now Crampton's got around the 25. He's starting to pull away a little bit here from Alexander Rowe.
Yeah, you can see him really starting to pull away here from Alexander Rowe, and I think it shows how strong his car is here. You know, just being able to drive down his teammate like that, made the move very, very quickly, didn't waste any time whatsoever, you know. So it's a good sign here for this 97 machine, but, you know, kind of notice at the pace of the race here, we still have a long way to go here in this race. A lot of things can happen here. And as we know in Richmond, you can get in a lot of trouble coming on and off the pit road. You can get on to a lot of trouble getting around some lap Toyotas here. He's got the prize pick machines at Alejandro Cruz he's got to work around, and a couple other cars immediately after. So Crampton looking really strong here, but this race is far from over for him. And he's got to be careful manipulating his way through lap traffic here, that he doesn't find himself into a much more chaotic situation.
He goes Bryce on the inside. He gets past Miller, so back up to fourth. So trying to work his way back through it. Someone else has gone through the grass. Oh, Kelly Lee.
Oh!
And that running 29th across the line last time. That's it. That's 2 PRM dodges with engine failures. So Vargas with the engine issue before, and now Kelly Lee out of the race. With an engine drama, so that's not. That'd be worrying if you're Rogel Dawn and Jake Rogers, the other 2 PRM dodgers, as they continue to get around Nathan Smith, who has damage. So there's Anthony. He's made another spot. It's up to 9th. We've got Gawant in 11th. And look at this up front. We saw today. We're recording this right after the Martinsville race. We saw lap cars. It didn't have a huge impact, I'd say, but certainly. We saw that it can have an impact. You see, Rowe was able to close in as Crampton was working around the 46 and the 7. It's going to get to the inside of Clifton, who also has damage from that previous accident. That's a shame. The 13 is going to go a lap down, and that is going to probably do it in terms of his championship hopes with 6 races to go after this one. Crampton gets around, Rowe gets around. Jericho's still having a very nice run in 3rd. In the 63. It's really promising signs for him. So ahead of Bryce and then Miller. Duncan Ward's starting to drop back into the clutches of Braden Perez. You got Raleigh, who's gaining a bit of ground. Anthony Koshma. How about Leonard Koshma here in the top 10? He's 37th in points. He's had a really tough year. He has made every race, but has really struggled in this car. 37th in points. Dropped outside that top 35, but with Sam Vitale out of the race, and Ludovic Charette at the moment, 26th. Koshma right now in position to get back inside that top 35. And look at this. It's all going on as Miller's getting held up by Tyson Gifford. And he's going to lose a couple of positions here because Ward's going to get past, you'd imagine. You've got Perez back in there as well, making some moves. And up ahead, Bright's getting around the lap cars. No changes up with the top 2. So the 48 dropping back now as Perez and Ward gets past, and now Miller will get to the inside of Gifford. Put him a lap down, and there's the 39 right there. They're closing in on these guys as well. So not ideal for the 48, but he is still 7th and outrunning most of his championship rivals outside of Alexander Rowe.
Top 2 running strong. Tyler Jericho looking to have a really good day here. Eli Bright is going to be able to gain a little bit here in the points. I mean, he's ahead of Dawson Miller for the moment. He's got Braden Perez will be next up here or Duncan Ward and Braden Perez will be next up for him. Depending, how Dawson Miller. That's a teammate of Noah Clifton. That is not what Isaac Nichols wants to see. And then another one of his cars here. Oh my goodness, this is a wild sequence of events here for Nico Tech Racing. Not at all what you want to see if you're Isaac Nichols here. But they're slicing and dicing through this lap traffic. Perez having a really strong day here. A lot of teams having some good days here. Team Williams has a lot of pace. Velocistar has a lot of pace. Pacific Racing has some good pace out of the 92 car. So nice to see some different players up here at the front of this field today. Late in the season, showing that last round of R&D that came through, really having a good impact for some of these squads.
No, Clifton is in. He's got an oil leak on the 13, so another mechanical issue, and he's going to drop in further back. Roberto Crown in the 43 is on pit road. That might be a strategic play. Jake Rogers also with a lot of damage on the 40 at the moment. He's 2 laps down, so might have been involved in something that perhaps we've missed. See Crampton working his way through some of these lap cars. So Steinbach, Allen, a couple of DW cars, 52. Not sure, still not sure what happened to the 52 as to why he had to pit not long after that restart. But it doesn't look like that car is terribly off the pace. Now Crampton's is in an awkward position here because he's on the outside. It's not where you want to be, stuck behind these lap cars. The only good thing that's going for him is that the 51 can't get around Addison Steinbach at the moment. He's going to get down behind or get alongside Tristan Allen right here. So yeah, hard to work through the lap traffic at the moment. As Clifton is back out, going to head back out on the racetrack. We haven't seen much of Benny Watson in this race. The 96 is 19th, about to go down to 20th because here comes Max Davis on the inside. Haven't seen much of him so far in this one. Anthony got shuffled back. He's now back outside the top 10, so he's behind Gwar. A bit going on. Miller and Rowley have got around Duncan Ward. That's a change for position there. So Miller back inside the top 5. Rowley to 6th. He's done a nice job here in this race. But they're all still chasing Travis Crampton, who's pulling away because, for whatever reason, Alexander Rowe cannot get around Anderson Steinbach currently. And that's allowing Jericho to close in here.
Jericho really just flying his way through the field here. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So here we go. Alexander Rowe says, I'm going to beat the 97 down pit road, and that's kind of a big deal here, Richmond. We know the tires can make a good enough of a difference. Obviously, Rowe does not want a caution to come and get trapped lap down here, but all to play for now for his pit crew here, and he just needs to hope and pray that there's nothing chaotic that goes on track while he's a lap down here underneath this cycle.
There's Crampton, so he's staying out. Hasn't responded to the 51's pit call here. There he is. Oh, we got a caution! Just saw the lights come on, and it's Will Parrish in the 11. Oh, and Noah Clifton has run into the barrels at the end of the pit wall. Oh, and that was close there with Jericho. So that is awkward timing. You mentioned you don't want a caution right now. Well, they got a caution right now. Roberto Crown also involved in the 43, so this was a big one. Involved multiple cars, and all those that pitted, well, they're in a lot of strife, I would imagine. So the 51, who I think has already come out, but I think he'll be a lap down. Dominic Anthony and Henry Gore on pit road as well. So we'll have to figure out who's got what, but this is a... Let's see here with Crampton. He's going to pit now. These guys will be able to go the distance. So Tyler Jericho in second here at the moment, and these are all guys that have already pitted. Max Davis trying to work his way back around, but all the leaders in. Dawson Miller stayed out in the 48, and now he's going to come down. So that has worked out pretty well for Miller, with all 3 of the Gifford Chevrolets on pit road during the cycle. And there's the 51 of Rowe. And he's going to lose out. Same with Anthony. So I'm not sure where the 97 is, but you'd imagine that these guys will take 4. There he is. Did he take 2? I don't know if he took 2 or not. Let's figure that one out. But he's done with his stop. He gets a long way ahead of Tyler Jericho, who will hold on to second, ahead of Bryce, and then Miller and Rowley now inside the top 10. The top 5, I should say. Keep an eye on the 10. It was pretty quick during that run, so we have something for Crampton. We'll find out as we'll take a look what happened to trigger the yellow. Well, Richmond has always been a trouble spot when it comes to entering pit road, even with the new version. You're going to see the 11 here of Will Parrish, who finished second last week, how quickly things can change in the span of a week. He's a little too wide. He actually hits the commitment cone right there. It's wide of the mark, and he runs straight into it. And poor old Roberto Crown has nowhere to go. Just had literally nowhere to go. and right into the side of the number 11. And Parrish's day was already done when he hit the tyre barriers. Unfortunately, collected Roberto Crown in the process, and that's a shame for Crown, who would have loved a strong showing here in this race with Sam Vitale out 35th in honour points, because Crown 38th in honour points, but unfortunately for the 43, done for the day. He's torn the whole front out of it. And then Noah Clifton, I don't know why he decides, because the pit road's closed, but he for some reason thinks he could go back out onto the track. He runs straight into the tyre barrels. He runs into the barrels in general, and finishes off his day. And that caused a lot of fronting damage, and that is going to conclude his afternoon or evening, I suppose. And unfortunately for car 13, that's going to really hurt in the championship, fair to say, given the way things are currently running at the moment. So a tough break for the 13, a tough break for Parrish and Crown in particular, who really was the innocent victim in all this, and nowhere to go. But of course, all these guys that pitted, so guys like Ward, Davis, Anthony, Caesar, some of these guys back in here get really royally affected here in this one. Thomas Troxel, another one. Alexander Rowe, another key player in this one that's going to get affected. So a big shame there for a lot of drivers up and down the field. Here it is, real time for Will Parrish. How quick things can change here in this series. Right into the wall. Man, that was a hard hit for Roberto Crown, and luckily, I think Logan Williams may have got a piece of it, but that shouldn't be too severe. And then Noah Clifton's like, "Hey, don't leave me out, guys. I want to join the fun." Now, actually, that's interesting. You saw the 48 of Miller actually got around rally there. There you go. It might be big for the 48 here in this race, but Crampton looked very fast in that last run. We'll see how this restart plays out, because now everybody's going to get back together, and of course after all the pit stops and everything. So, and of course, all those drivers that were caught out on pit road, such as Dominic Anthony, Henrik Waugh, some of these guys back down the order. Alexander Rose, another one. We'll see how it affects those guys, and what happens here on this third restart of the day here at the Richmond Raceway. Travis Crampton is the race leader. Let's take it back to the green. Restarting with 31 laps to go next time by, third caution of the race. Travis Crampton is the race leader in the 97. Did a great run in that second start, that major long stint there after the second restart. He is the leader. Tyler Jericho still in second. The run he's had in this race. Can he challenge here for a race win? We'll find out. Eli Bright is third. Dawson Miller is fourth, and he was the big beneficiary in terms of the championship. We'll talk about that in a minute. Kian Rowley is fifth. Leonard Koshma, Duncan Ward, Jared Oren, Jack Haas, and Colin Denton inside the top 10. And cars out of the race include Noah Clifton, Roberto Crown, and Will Parrish. Of course, Parrish missing the pit road and ending up in the pit road barrels. Third restart of the race here at Richmond. We're back underway. A decent restart for Crampton. Jericho can't quite get to the inside, heading off into turns 1 and 2. We'll hold on to second for the time being. A bad restart for Kian Rowley in the 10. He didn't get going at all. Top 4 trying to break away as Crampton clear out in front with now 30 laps to go. Bright looking to the inside, and he's going to get to the inside of the 63 for the second position.
He's going to get cleanly to the inside of Jericho. Probably going to drag Dawson Miller with him. And what a drive from this 48, working his way through the field today. And he's up here as the point leader here. This is going to be a commanding performance from him here. And he's not out of the hunt for this win here. And this late in the season, if he could score a victory, that would be a crushing blow for a lot of his competition, especially, just looking up and down this top 10. Eli Bright really is one of the only ones who's within eye shot of him right now. So, unbelievable performance here from Dawson Miller today, but he's got two NS Racing cars who look really, really strong late in the going here. Just Let's see how this all pans out here over this last 20-odd something laps.
In terms of the championship picture back in here, there's Henry Gore. You got Alexander O'Donnell, Anthony. They lost out big time. And they are now, well, Anthony's 20th, Rowe is 21st, and Henry Gore is 22nd. They are the last cars on the lead lap. That's how much that caution really had an impact on their days. We've now got a lot of cars a lap down as a result. So it's a bit of a recovery drive for these guys. The 39, the 71, and 51. Try and make up as much ground as possible. But back out in front, Eli Bright with Miller right behind him, closing in here on Crampton. Look at Kean Rally. He got almost under that yellow line. Trying to get past Jericho. He's going to drive it in. Jericho's going to close the door. It's still a very promising day for, well, both your cars. Currently 4th and 6th at the moment. How about Denton up here? He got his first top 10 in a long time. He's got to go back to Oregon for his last top 10 prior to last week in Indianapolis. It was about nearly a 20 race run. As here we go, Bright's going to have a look to the inside for the lead. He wants to get back-to-back wins, and he's going to get past Crampton pretty easily there in the end. So the 95 back out in front with less than 25 to go, and here comes Miller, who won at Martinsville early in the year. Don't forget that. He won at Martinsville. That was his last win in the series prior to this moment. He's up to second in the 48 as Bright tries to pull away. Jericho has a look to the inside. Can't get underneath of the 97. You've got Rally right there, Ward and Oren, all within striking distance. Here comes the 10 though to the inside. Kean Rally's looked fast in this race, and he's going to get underneath here of Tyler Jericho. And so the 10 battling hard here with Jericho in this battle for the 4th position. He's going to get past. Here comes Oren in the 99 to the inside of Duncan Ward. Side by side for what is now 5th position. So Oren on the inside of Jericho. Going to be able to get it done. And he will. Well, he will on Ward. He won't be able to get in front of Jericho. Jericho cuts him off. And Bright is out of here. He took the lead away, and that margin, he just gained about, well, 2.5 tenths that last lap over Dawson Miller. So Bright looking for back-to-back wins here, and well, gain a little bit of ground because Miller is in second. But, you know, points gained is points gained, I suppose. And that would move him inside the top 5 in the championship with Clifton out of the race. 20 to go here at Richmond.
Yeah, 20 laps to go here. It's been an unbelievable performance from Eli Bright. Been a, a championship caliber effort. It's been an unbelievable effort here for Dawson Miller. And he still has the chance to get even closer to the front here. I don't know if he has enough to get around that 95. You really haven't been able to pass the 95 today unless he's been in traffic. But, you know, we know there are some slower cars at the back end of this field here. So we'll just see as we, catch up to the back of this field. If Eli Bright struggles in traffic again, that could be quite detrimental to him here. But not a lot of parity here in the front of this field. It's NS Racing 1-3, it's Nicotech 2, or NS Racing 1-3, and then the 99 at Gerard Oren in 7th position. 2 Velocistar cars, 2 Nicotech Hondas. Some very strong team efforts here at the front of this field. And you can also see now creeping his way in the top 10, Caleb Rosen, the 32 for Pacific Racing, with his teammate Braden Perez right behind him, who is under heavy attack here from Matthew Huber.
Yeah, where did the 32 come from?
Where did the 32 come from? I'm not entirely sure. He must have had a really good time in there with that caution and the way the pit cycle fell. But series race up here at the front of this field. And we're closing in on 15 laps to go here. Dawson Miller, he's closing a little. He's got time to make this up here. He's just going to have to... He's not going to get many opportunities when he does get there. So if he gets the opportunity, he's going to have to time it right down to when the exact moment is, because he might not get another one.
Definitely, and he is. It's kind of fluctuating at the moment. It's kind of hovered around 6 to 8 tenths, that margin, since Miller got clear for second. Right, at the moment, that margin basically stayed the same. I mentioned the lack of parity, I suppose. Well, these have been, well, it's actually interesting. It's mostly been, well, NS Racing have clearly been one of the best teams in the recent past. We haven't seen much from Nicotech really outside of the 48, and occasionally Clifton. We haven't actually seen much of, Rally that often. He's having a fantastic run though to the inside. Julio Cesar had another tough day in the 26, as Rally should get around Crampton right here. And it's battle for third, although Crampton's going to fight it back. But we haven't seen as much of Nicotech as maybe we thought we would this year. And despite the 48 leading the championship, they've only won 4 races in comparison to the 7 that NS and Gifford have won. It looks like at the moment it'll be 8 because Bright has just got that margin to nearly a second with nearly 10 laps to go. However, we're catching Nathan Smith here in the 25, Tyson Gifford, who involved in earlier incidents, Christian Vargas, who of course has that engine problem and damage. So I can't believe that didn't create a yellow, but here's what it is. March across the line, 1 and 1/5 seconds. So 95 is looking pretty good here. Get it back-to-back wins, and his third of the season. Oh,
that's not great.
Oh, that was close there. That was proper contact. Barged Nathan Smith out the way. You're multiple laps down. You got damage. Get out of the way. I'm trying to win the race. He gets past him there, and extended the margin to 1.2 seconds. Duncan Ward has worked his way back up to the 4th position. He's getting around Crampton right here, or at least trying to. You've got Jericho and Oren up here as well. 99 to the inside of Jericho. Still a good day for Jericho. It looks like he will get his first career top 10 in the series. And Ward at the moment, if he does finish 5th or 4th, that would be a career best finish. So it's positives to take for Velocity Star. Got Colin Dent, a lot of positive to take out of the 21 car in this race as well. He's had a strong showing here today, and he might get around Jericho as well. Good run to the inside. So 21, the second straight week, is the fastest DW car. We haven't seen a lot of speed from him so far this year, but very promising sign for him. You've got Hubert and then Perez now back inside the top 10. Caleb Rose dropped a couple of positions. We haven't seen much of Watson in this race. The 96, right now, he's running in 12th. And those guys, the 51 and the 71, I'm not sure where'd 39 go. I might have missed him. There he is. Anthony's the one that's making a bit of ground here, or at least is trying to. He's 18th. But right now, as Eli Bright and 95 is getting around the lap cars and looks set for victory with 6 to go, Dawson Miller in second. That margin's going to balloon even further. And it will be about 70-ish points, you'd imagine. So he is well and truly in the box seat with 6 races to go to win this championship. Even if he doesn't win today, it's a pretty good day at the office. 5 to go for Eli Bright.
Yeah, 5 laps to go for Eli Bright. And, Dawson Miller's consistency is what's going to win him this championship ultimately if this continues to hold. His average finish this season is going to be over 2 spots better than the next guy, Henry Guo, who's second in the points coming in this race. Although Eli Bright, with how bad some of these other guys are going to get finishes here today, Eli Bright has a shot to jump into that top 3 here. So, great run for Eli Bright, and it really, like I've been saying, makes you wonder where if the speed and the consistency could have been there earlier in the season for NS Racing. Those 8 wins they're about to have here, you would think would lead to a championship for one of the drivers, but it's just not coming to fruition. But, late season comebacks in the points, we've seen before. It's tough to beat Dawson Miller when he's this consistent week in and week out, but the only way to do it then is to win the races, and 2 laps to go here at Richmond, and Eli Bright on his way to another win here for NS Racing.
He'll be the 7th driver in the series. Talked about when Alexander Rowe won back-to-back races a couple of months ago. Only 6 drivers have ever done it, so Eli Bright will join a pretty good company as he takes the white flag here in the SiriusXM 400. Has clearly been the fastest car here today, and it's going to earn this one. There's no doubt about that. Won last week on fuel strategy. Pulled away late when he had to, and today he's just been the dominant car. Outside of a little lap traffic issue, he's been fantastic. Back-to-back wins for Eli Bright. He wins the SiriusXM 400. Richmond. And Dawson Miller comes home in second. he will extend that points lead to about 70-ish points. He is well and truly looking the goods to win the championship here in the Cup Series. Duncan Ward started second, finishes third. He got around Keenan Rowley late. He still gets a top 5 today, and then a mad scramble behind Travis Crampton came home in the 5th position. But Eli Bright, the race winner here at Richmond, you see the final results on your screen. Probably not the barn burner that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, but the 95 gets it done, and he gets his 3rd win of the season. And that ties Benny Watson for the 2nd most in the series this year, and Dawson Miller for that matter as well. Jared Oren ended up in 6th ahead of Hubert Perez. Tyler Jericho dropped back to 9th. Still a pretty good day. Ennis Racing had all 4 cars in the top 10 with Watson, who we didn't see much of today. He ended up in 10th. Pretty good day, all things considered. You see the rest of your results right there. Dominic Anthony made his way back up to 14th. So that's a decent recovery, I'd say, all things considered. Alexander Rowe, Henry Gork were not so fortunate. They couldn't quite work their way through. They ended up in 18th and 19th. Lenny Koshima, by the way, dropped back to 17th. I'm not sure what happened to him late, because he was inside the top 10. Colin Denton in 21st. He must have pitted because he was up in the top 10 late in the going. So he must have pitted late in the 21s. That's a shame there, because he had a very good day going. And then a lot of tales of woe down the order. A lot of guys involved in incidents outside this top 30. And lots of damaged race cars, most notably Noah Clifton, 5th in the points out of the race with that incident running into the pit wall. Then Sam Vitale and Fridge out in that first caution. Here are the championship standings after 24 races here in the 6th season of the Gratton Cup Series, and Dawson Miller has a 69-point advantage over the chasing pack. He is well on his way, you'd imagine, to win this championship with 6 races left to go. Gore, 69 back. He's now 10 ahead of his teammate Dominic Anthony, so a tough day at the office for Gifford Technologies Incorporated. Alexander Rowe has the tiebreaker on Eli Bright with the number of wins. Bright was the only one to gain on Dawson Miller today. He moves up to the tie for 4th in points. He'll be 5th because of the tiebreak, but still, the 95 making a late season surge with a couple of wins. And then Noah Clifton lost a lot of ground today. He's probably out of championship contention, 121 back. You see the full standings on your screen right there, Matt. It's looking pretty good here for Dawson Miller to win this championship, up nearly 70 points on the field behind.
Yeah, I mean, 70 points, not a lot of races to go. I mean, you got to outscore him by, 15 points a race to even have a shot to beat him here in this championship. So, it's obviously not mathematically over here yet, but it is about to get very, very, very difficult here to stage a comeback here. Really brutal for Alexander Rowe. I mean, you guys can all see there. 5 wins on the season, 11 top 5s, but that average finish almost 4 spots lower than where Dawson Miller's is ultimately going to do him in, I think, or ultimately has done him in here, and late in the season. It's going to take some heroics to get around this 48 and Ecotech racing machine to win this championship.
Yeah, definitely, but in terms of the rest of the season, we go to Watkins Glen next week, which probably out of the remaining 6 races, probably the biggest wildcard track on the schedule, because you know how road courses can go. Anything can happen. Dawson Miller finished 26th at Coda earlier in the year. That's one of his worst finishes of the year. So anything goes next week at Watkins Glen. Of course, Henry Gore won at Coda, so you never know. But we're off to Watkins Glen next week for the Go Bowling at the Glen. So for Matt Tuck, I'm Stuart Gratton signing off. Great to have your company. We'll see you next week at Watkins Glen.